Let's turn our attention on the NDC now, and its flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, will today officially outdoor his running mate for the 2020 elections. Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, campaign spokesperson James Boateng, tells us what to expect.
On the 6th of July 2020, His Excellency the former President John Dramani Mahama formally announced Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang as his running mate for election 2020. And as is customary, as is conventional, today she will be formally outdoored or inducted. So on this day, later this evening, Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang will make her maiden statement, which is more of her maiden major policy statement. So that's what is to be expected later this evening.
And from the NDC, what does this outdoor mean to the party? And of course, knowing that we are just about 5 months away from the general elections.
Well, Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang represents a lot. She's a distinguished and a respected academic, devoted many years of her life to lecture theaters and halls and training people. So she's contributed a great deal to public service. You also know that as Minister for Education, she pioneered very innovative mix of policies that produced the desired outcomes. So she's bringing a lot to the table. And even more importantly is the fact that inclusion matters, representation matters. So she's bringing all of those things quite apart from her credentials, her qualifications. I mean, I perhaps might dare say that on the political landscape today, she's about the most qualified person today, even if you were to look at it.
Most qualified person?
I mean,
the political landscape too?
You disagree with that?
I mean, many disagree with you. And of course,
what is the source?
That she doesn't have the gravitas. And again, even looking at how, or when she even joined the party formally, she has no connection with the grassroots. And that would be a major challenge for the NDC.
Well, I do not know, or I have not heard anybody raise an issue about her connection with the party. She was a minister of state in the NDC.
For 4 years.
She said, that is correct. But again, are you
member of the party?
Are you suggesting that she is unqualified for the job? She is a professor. She is a professor of many years, stayed in the lecture halls and trained many of the people who today are in political offices. Are you by that suggesting that she is not, or those people are better qualified than she is?
I mean, your
I don't think so.
To think otherwise.
Well, opponents have a right to think the way they want to think. But, I mean, you as a journalist, and it is not for nothing that you need to make your own analysis. Today, when you look at the political landscape, how many professors of her caliber do we have on the political landscape today? How many women have risen to the level that she has? How many of our politicians, male or female, have done many years plus in the lecture halls, lecture theaters, training people, grooming them, modeling them and shaping them up and making them take up all sorts of courses and professions? I mean, so as for what opponents say, with the greatest of respect, this is a democracy. They have the right to speak their mind and to express themselves. I mean, no hard feelings about that. But you have to look at the issues objectively. I have absolutely no doubt at all that she is a fantastic person. She's more suited for the role, and she's maybe even overqualified for the role.
I see. And you mentioned that she's going to make her maiden policy statement. What should you expect from that statement? Is she going to be the type where she will throw the finest jab at the government, Nana, the president, and then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, or what? What should we expect from the maiden policy statement?
What she brings to Ghanaian politics today is decency, dignity, respect for all. I mean, it's not about throwing jabs. There's a job to be done. Right. There's life to be improved. She brings a lot of those things to the table. So if you are expecting jabs and tantrums throwing, I mean, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It does appear that perhaps maybe today's political office has become synonymous to that, and that's why you are expecting that. I'm sorry to disappoint you and all the people who might be expecting that. I mean, what Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang brings is dignity.
All right, so Evan Spencer is head of our political desk here at JoyNews, and he will be leading our coverage of that event later this evening. He joins me in studio for more on what to expect. So, Evans, what we're going to be putting out there is the Jane and John puzzle. Yeah. Jane and John puzzle. I've had a lot of people ask me, why the puzzle? Okay. Why a puzzle?
It is a puzzle because John Mahama by himself appointing a running mate, which is a tradition in going into an election, is him himself admitting that I need some piece to sort of complete my puzzle for the election. So if you want to take it on bare face value, that's where it starts from, right? Because the candidate who's going to the election can't stand by himself. And so decides that I need another piece of my puzzle to come together and run for an election, which is what all parties do, and is part of our constitution. So you must have so that's part of the puzzle. More complex, if you move to the second more complexity, is the fact that once you found that piece, you then need to find, okay, what are the missing pieces, even once you have them together? Because remember, you have to win an election. Right. Fundamentally, both both of them must come together to win an election. How do they do that? That's where the puzzle is. So we're going to find out tonight how the two can combine and what elements are still missing that possibly Professor Opoku-Agyemang brings to John Mahama, who we already know, to complete that piece, that puzzle, to deliver elections victory for them 2020 December 7th. So that's all that's about. We're going to try and track this. We're going to go back all the way to 1992 because there's a lot in the history, in the numbers, that tells us how the two can combine to deliver victory. NDC's own numbers over the years will tell us a story. So we're going to start by telling us, looking for the story in the numbers. I see. Really interesting stuff. Interesting. So we're going to be piecing the jigsaw puzzle together. Interesting. Yeah, for the NDC, see how that puzzle completes, you know, to deliver victory. Well, Evans, I'm sure you heard James Boateng there. One of the issues that has come up against her is her lack of connectivity with the grassroots. You know, how is this going to play out going into the elections? That is true. I mean, she's been a card-bearing member of the NDC for 7 years. So that from the start is somebody who's come into the game who hasn't got enough grassroots connection, right? But the research we've done shows that she has something she could leverage when it comes to that. So although it's true that she hasn't got as deep a connection to the party base as John Mahama, for example, has, or you know the other people who are trying to jostle for that role may have, she could rely on something else. That something else is part of the puzzle that we don't. She could rely on something else, and that puzzle we have evidence to support that. We will go to the ground. We will track her own history to try and find out where could she possibly fix that problem of connection to the base. And we found evidence that she probably has been doing something in the quiet that people don't know. We'll try and bring it out tonight. All right, Evans, stay with me because we can now cross over to the University of Professional Studies and look at the preparatory work done so far ahead of this evening's event. Kwesi Parker Wilson is there. He joins us. So, Parker, how are things shaping up on the ground? Well, so I can confirm that the NDC is set for this evening's event, the outdooring of its running mate, Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang, and they have in place the Veronica bucket to ensure that all the safety protocols are observed. Now, if you look at my right, just before you enter the auditorium itself, there is a photo board of the professor. And this is the reason why the NDC will gather here this evening to outdoor her. A huge photo board of Professor Naana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, and it reads NDC Running Mate for Election 2020. So some party members that I've seen here are confident that the ticket of Professor to that of the former President John Dramani Mahama will secure them a victory. So the NDC getting ready for this evening's event.
Kwesi Parker was in there with an update of how things are shaping up on the ground at the UPSA there. And Evans is still with me in the studio. Evans, so what should our listeners, our viewers, our online, followers expect this evening?
Well, expect candid analysis. Some of it going to be very controversial.
Right.
Some will attract. Just expect the unexpected. There's going to be a lot of surprises tonight. When we start going to the data, the analysis, the evidence that we found, we're going to really break this down. Right. This ticket, and particularly herself, right. Professor Jane Opoku, we're going to break her down, her competence, the work she did, what research has been commissioned over the period. We have this fantastic research we found that tracked the work that she's done between 2013 and 2016 when it comes to kids' ability to read, write, and do maths. So you need to just wait and see what the puzzle is and how we try and fix and solve the puzzle. At the end, there'll be conclusions. You may disagree with the conclusions, but you cannot argue with the facts that leads in. So we're going to start with that. And then, of course, we're going to have Kojo Yang Sing, we're going to have Winston, we're going to have Araba Kumsing yourself, and we're going to have Parker, who's already there. We're also going to have MFA Pau join us as well. And then, of course, after the event, we'll do a post-analysis of what she had said. All right. And what JM himself will say.
Thank you very much. That's Evans Mensah. He's head of our political desk here at JoyNews. And you heard him. There's a lot of unpacking to be done. So stay tuned to JoyNews TV, Joy 99.7 FM, Love FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com, and many of our other platforms for a build-up to this event today from 6 p.m. We'll be live on your digital TV because, of course, we are free to air also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144.